क्या आप भी किसी अपने सपने मेरे तुम्हारे टीम 11 पे टीम बना रहे हो और बच्चों के साथ खेल रहे हो? हमारे साथ खेलोगे? हाउस पे खेलो लेजेंड्स के साथ, हमें हराओ और जीतो डबल कैश. Log on to houseit.com and win real cash.
I'm joined by a very dear friend, one of Australia's greatest captains. Clearly one of Australia's greatest captains. In fact, I was hearing his breakfast show today, Michael Clarke. Michael, have you still digested what has transpired over the last few weeks?
I have, buddy. Look, I think it's obviously easier when you're not playing, when you've retired like I have. And I think the one thing that stands out for mine about, this entire series is that India deserves so much credit for what they've achieved. You think about being bowled out for 30 odd, losing 8 players to injury, and, obviously the captain Virat going home for the birth of his newborn baby. And then for India to go and win at Australia's fortress, the Gabba. What an unbelievable achievement from the Indian team. There's a lot of talk back here in Australia about, the Australian players' performance and individual players and who should get sacked. But I actually think what needs to happen right now is we need to pay credit to India for how they played, how they performed in really tough conditions with a lot of players out. So sometimes you get beaten by the better team.
When 36 all-out happened, Michael, a lot of people had written India off. And, Ravichandran Ashwin has put out a cheeky tweet as well. Everyone's celebrating. Obviously at 36 all-out, Virat going back, it was difficult to believe that this was possible. How do you attribute this? Lot of credit to Rahane and Ravi and the rest of the boys.
Yeah, look, and I've got to be honest, Boria, I thought if India didn't win the first test match, I thought it was going to be really tough for them without their captain, without Virat Kohli. And I think I said at the time, if India win, they can celebrate for a year. And I mean it. India should be celebrating for a year. This series win in Australia, in my opinion, for India, is as big as India's had in their history of Test cricket. To come to Australia and win in tough conditions where Australia is so strong and has been so strong over a long period of time, at full strength as well. That's the other thing. This Australian team, the last couple of test matches, were 100% at full strength, and India weren't. So I think this is a massive win for India. They deserve all the credit they get, and I mean it. They should be celebrating.
Shubman Gill and Rishabh Pant?
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, both of them. Look, I've seen more of Rishabh Pant through commentating the IPL, and I've always thought he's a superstar. I think India probably went a little bit safer in that first test match in not picking him, going for the best keeper. But again, someone like Rishabh Pant, you got to pick him. In my mind, he's got to be playing. It's worth the risk. Yes, he might drop a couple of catches as a keeper, but he's going to go and make a test 100 or a test double 100 or a test triple 100. He wins games for the team. He's got that, MS Dhoni in him in his batting style, or Adam Gilchrist in his batting style, and absolute superstar. And again, those two guys deserve a lot of credit.
328 never chased down at the Gabba, fortress of Australian cricket. Last day, pitch doing a lot. Did you ever believe at the start of day 5 that India did have a chance? Like most people thought, at best it'll be a draw. Did you believe India had a chance?
If Australia bowled as well as they could have, set the right fields, had the aggressive attitude that they needed to, no, I didn't. I didn't think this Indian team could chase that amount of runs on the last day. I thought it was going to be very tough. There's no doubt about it. I thought, a draw is on the cards. I thought there's an opportunity for either Australia to win or a draw. And I said this at the time, I feel like for India to be able to beat Australia in this series, it's just a huge feat. You just, when you look through that Indian lineup, how many players, they're experienced players as well, are not in that starting 11. So, I think the other two that deserve a lot of credit here are Ravi Shastri, the coach, how he's held this team together after obviously the captain Virat Kohli went home, and Ajinkya Rahane. My goodness, his leadership was outstanding, tactically brilliant, the fields he set. I just felt like this whole test match in Brisbane, India just had one thing on their mind. It was how they were going to win. Where Australia probably had two. They probably thought, how do we not lose, firstly, and then how do we win? India didn't hesitate. They went for the win from ball one.
Michael, that was in fact, two questions to you. First was this. I was hearing your breakfast show and you mentioned this in a different way, that Australia had fear of failure. India did not have fear of failure. You said even in terms of setting fields, the way they sort of gave Rishabh Pant a long on, long off at the start. So is that the defining aspect? I mean, as one of the best leaders of the game, just explain to me what you liked about Ajinkya Rahane's captaincy.
Well, look, I don't think it's the only reason why Australia didn't win, but I think it's a part, definitely. I think Australia had to win the test to win the series, so they had nothing to lose. So I was surprised the attitude from ball one wasn't just go for the win. Even if you lose with 40 overs to go on the last day, or you lose the last ball, it actually doesn't matter. Australia had to win the test match. So I was really surprised with, I guess our approach from ball one. Maybe that fear of failure as well, or that fear of trying to win. And then again, on the last day, so many fieldsmen on the boundary. Nathan Lyon bowling, the ball spinning, mid on back. I think for someone like Rishabh Pant, let him hit a couple of sixes and hope he hits one straight up in the air. But we continued to be quite defensive, which was a little different, I think, to what a lot of people were expecting when we had to win the test match to regain the trophy.
And you were a classic test batsman. People have celebrated you, 115 test matches, so many thousand runs. Talk to me about Cheteshwar Pujara. 15 body blows, yet that man stood up. Head, body, chest. Talk to me about Cheteshwar Pujara and his batsmanship.
Well, he's Rahul Dravid all over again, isn't he? I was lucky enough to play against the great Rahul Dravid, and I see very similar parts to Pujara's game. He's tough. He doesn't give his wicket away. He copped, again, criticism over here. People saying Pat Cummins had his measure. They just couldn't get him out. He copped whatever it took. He didn't change his game for anybody. He played his natural game, and I feel like that's why he deserves so much credit. Again, that's why he bats in such a important position for this Indian team. The players don't take him for granted. They love him being in the group. They know how important he is. In a cricketing world where everyone wants to hit fours and sixes, there's still a role for that player like Pujara to make it hard for opposition teams to get you out. And he played a huge role in not only India winning the last test at the Gabba, but once again, India having success in these conditions.
Michael, Mohammed Siraj losing his father dying in the middle of the series. This man refuses to come to India. And then leads the attack in his third test match, picks up a fifer, takes that Indian flag and the whole team behind him. Picture postcard moment for us. Your thoughts on Mohammed Siraj and, the racist barbs and all of that taken together. What would this mean for a performer like him? Yeah,
look, I don't think words can describe how much respect I have for him, to be honest. To be able to go through that, I've been, in positions where I was away playing cricket and my father got diagnosed with cancer and I decided not to come home. And that was tough enough, for me to make that decision. But his father passed away, and for him to choose to stay and want to help his team. And to be honest, watching him bowl on that last day, you couldn't not want him to take wickets. You wanted him to get that 5-wicket haul for everything that he'd sacrificed, everything he'd gone through. And look, I wanted Australia to win the game. Of course, I'm, an ex-Australian cricketer and I love Australian cricket doing well, but I could not be happier for a cricketer around the world for what he did, what he put himself through, his family through, to show his loyalty to that Indian cricket team. He deserves all the credit in the world.
My final two questions before I let you go, because I can see your daughter behind you, and she needs the father more than I do. So, final two questions, Michael. What does this series mean for Test cricket? Because this is a format that is still the pinnacle of our sport. And as a classic Test cricketer, what does this mean to you?
So important, Bori. I love this game. I love all three formats. There's no doubt about it. I love coming to India to commentate the IPL and watching all these young Indian players come through. But the pinnacle is Test cricket. And this will do Test cricket the world of good. We've seen it. If India is in love with the format, then it just grows all around the world. And it's important. It's important for all young cricketers in every country to see that Test cricket is the pinnacle. You go and ask any one of these Indian players that have been a part of this series what has been the most important series in their life, and they'll tell you this one just gone by. And you know, the one that reminds me of this was 2005 when Australia lost. I played in that series. We lost to England. It had that exact same feel through the series. You know, the media, the fans, both countries, the world was just gripped to their seat to watch Test cricket. And that's what we want. That's what Test cricket needs. And I honestly feel that's what this Indian team has done. They have brought so much love back into Test cricket, not just from Indian fans, but from fans all around the world.
Michael, my final one, you actually analyzed this in your breakfast show and you said, even if India won it in their backyard with so much going on in their own country, it would be great. But to come here and do this is extraordinary. Can you explain that a little bit more for my viewers as to what you mean?
Yeah, well, that's the word, extraordinary, because I think there was an expectation that India at full strength and Australia at full strength in Australian conditions, Australia would still win. India not only beat Australia, they didn't have their captain. They didn't have 8 of their best players. They had, you know, so many things go wrong throughout the series. They got bowled out for 36, yet they still found a way. So that shows the strength of character, the strength of people in and around that team, support staff, players, the courage that this young team has. You know, playing in your own backyard, cricket is at the highest level is a lot easier. If Australia comes to India, it's always hard to win there. Same. We pride ourselves on when teams come to Australia, it's very hard to beat us here. India did that not at full strength. And that's why I say if India beat Australia just in their own backyard with the issues and the players missing and the captain going home and bowled out for 36, you would have said brilliant performance from India. But to do it here in Australia with all of that going on, extraordinary is an understatement. And that's why I say, you know what, India, you should celebrate for a year. You deserve it.
Wonderful, Michael. So my final point, are we seeing you back for the IPL? Will you come and commentate again if we invite you? Tell me that.
I would love to, buddy. I love my time over there. It was obviously, I know everybody's been affected by this coronavirus in every country all around the world. And I really just hope I get the chance to come back. I'd love to be a part of the IPL and continue my commentary to BCCI and Star. And I miss your face as well. I can't wait to see you and your family, buddy.
Absolutely, because we've got to get you back. Our country has started vaccination and it's going on full steam. The cricket team has done what it has, so 2021 is a better year, Michael. I mean, clearly better than 2020, and we all live in hope. And the other part is we have to get you back because you are good for cricket. We'll get you back. All of us want this sport to grow, and that's what is most important. Michael, don't disappear, because technology allows my 2 producers who are backstage and watching you talk, they want to take a photograph with you virtually, which is the last part of this interview. Of course, so formally, buddy, I end this interview for my viewers, but Michael is not going away because Trisha and Ashish, my 2 producers who've been woken up by me at 4:30 a.m. when you and I were on WhatsApp, they need a photograph, so they deserve it. Thank you very, very much for watching, by the way.